reporting on?
Oh, well, we're just announcing the lineup for the Works and the Street Performers Festival. So we're just announcing the launch for that. And now we're just getting some beauty shots for our weather segment. So yeah, it's nice to have the fountain back again. It was kind of a long wait for it to get renovated and up and running. So yeah, I forgot how refreshing. Even being near it, you can feel it's like a bit cooler.
Yeah, and you can put your feet in it. I did that the other day on the other side. It was really nice.
Yeah, if I didn't have to go back to work right now, I probably would too.
Yeah. Do you work just right here in the tower? Yeah. What do you guys do all day?
Whatever they tell us. From hour to hour, we don't really know. It just depends on what the news has in store for us. So.
Anything exciting happening?
Today, not so much. I mean, the wildfire season was so busy that we're kind of, catching our breath after that. After it finally rained, that died down a bit. So we were working
we had like 5 days of rain. It was crazy.
Nice. Yeah. A bit too much almost.
It broke my umbrella, a brand new umbrella. I took it out and the wind destroyed it. Yeah.
Too heavy.
It's really pretty. It's a great day.
Yeah. You're just getting some beauty shots?
Yeah, I'm working too. I'm off to go do an order, and I thought I'd come out here first and see what's happening.
Yeah, it's a nice day for it.
Yeah. So what's happening with the mall? Are you guys reporting on that?
City Center?
Mm-hmm.
A bit, yeah. I haven't personally done anything on it for a little while. It's just kind of an ongoing thing. It's been in decline for so long. Yeah.
And it's like a war.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's a war. Like, you haven't seen bombs and tanks and machine guns in there, but the grenades have hit every store, and it's a war. It's called fourth generational warfare, and they've taken control of our entire city. And do you understand what's happened? Do you know who's to blame?
I'd be curious to know what your opinion is, I suppose.
I'll tell you my opinion. My opinion is your landlord.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my opinion, and not so much the current landlord, but the previous landlord.
For City Center?
Oxford Properties.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they increased everyone's rent to the point that no tenants could survive.
Yeah.
And it was a bloodbath, pretty much. All the stores just vacated, and that combined with the vacancy of Port Renfrew and the Hudson's Bay Company. When you lose your anchors in a shopping mall, everything inside of it follows, and it collapses, and it's irreparable.
And they're also blaming the homeless crisis, which has nothing to do with it. It's that's the provincial government's problem for cutting all the funding, but that's just a visible thing that everyone that's scared to come downtown and spend their money and be here, they always just blame crackheads and stuff, but it's obviously more complicated than that.
Yeah, it definitely. I don't think it's homeless people at all. No. I think I'm from Toronto, and I live right in the heart of Toronto downtown, and this is, I'm going to tell you this and share this with you, way worse.
Oh yeah, no,
this is way worse than Toronto. And I mean, we have the beautiful fountains right now, but apart from that, there's not much left.
Yeah.
This is like the only beauty in downtown Edmonton is these little fountains.
Yeah.
But all around it is surrounded by homeless people getting drugged up. The police and the ambulance are on nonstop calls for crisis with people overdosing on the streets. It's a nonstop occurrence, and that needs to be addressed.
Well, I mean, my personal opinion is that the provincial government thinks if we just put a lot of money into police and enforcement rather than money into prevention, it's always more expensive. It's always less effective. We need to prevent. We need to help people with sickness and addiction. We need to help these people, not shoo them into corners and put them in jail all the time. It's so counterproductive, and then they have an easy scapegoat, and then they don't have to actually do anything about it. Just be let's hire more police to arrest them for the night and then put them back on the street the next day. It's such a dumb system.
I was here on a Saturday, and I have never seen so much trauma in one day. I saw a guy who was collapsed right in front of your offices on the opposite side, and he was collapsed on the sidewalk. He looked dead. And I alerted a police officer who was giving a ticket to a limo driver. That's more important. earlier that day, there was a guy who was passed out on Jasper Ave, and there was an ambulance up the street dealing with another situation, and a man saw this man passed out, like he thought he was dead, and he called 911. Like, it's insane. It's really, really bad.
They're overwhelmed.
And they need to fix it.
Yeah.
So you guys as a media company need to force them to talk on this, and they're not talking on this.
No,
they're not talking on the retail aspect of it, because when you destroy the retail in a city, you destroy the city, and that's what they've done. They've destroyed the downtown retail, and they can't repair that. And Oxford Properties needs to be held accountable. So there's Aimco that owns Manulife and Manulife Investment Management, and Quadreal that owns Commerce Place. And you know what Quadreal is? You know that Quadreal owns the Commerce Place, right?
Oh, no, I didn't know
You didn't know that? Okay. So Quadreal owns Commerce Place, and Quadreal is over in Vancouver building a mega mall, like huge towers. There's 16 cranes in the sky. It's called Oak Ridge Park.
Okay.
And it's a huge development that they got on. They don't care about this. They've just abandoned the ship here.
Oh, I see.
So the only way that they're going to care about this is if you guys at the news force them to care. And you have the power, you have the cameras, you can go right on into City Hall right there and ask them to start talking on this. And that's what we need you to do as from the public point of view.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to go to your bosses, because I know you don't make the decisions first, so it's not your fault. You got to go to your bosses and you say, we need to address the retail aspect in our landlords. And then you're in a position, because your bosses probably signed some sweet deals, lease deals with the landlords, and that's why they're not talking on it, because they haven't said one word.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. That wouldn't surprise me at all,
It's a nightmare. It's a disaster. Yeah. It's, in my opinion, 911, and this is ground zero, and that's how bad it is. And if we leave it another year, let alone 5 years, there's going to be nothing left of this place. It's going to be full-on military zone with police non-stop.
Yeah.
People, on the streets.
Yeah.
Bad.
No, you're not exaggerating.
And the landlords, because I have photographic proof of what this place looked like in 2019 before I left, and it was horrible then, but it was a million times better than it is now. Yeah. And now all the stores are gone.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're right. It's not looking good.
No. So tell who's in charge? Who's the one that makes the decision?
Oh my God. It's hard to know that. That's another problem with CBC is there's too many managers.
Is there?
Yeah. They need more people on the street doing work and less people having meetings.
100%. Our conversation is more valid than any media story that has ever been published.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
Really? I was out here the other day, and City News was reporting on a meeting going on with a police commissioner on race-based data collection. It's so irrelevant. You have a completely destroyed downtown.
Yeah.
That needs to be covered, right? And it's not your fault that you're sent out here to do this. And, they should be pounding these developers on the collapse of downtown Edmonton.
Yeah.
Because that's the correct word. It's a collapse. It's 90 to 95% vacancy in those three malls.
Yeah.
And you can't get that back if you just ignore it. And the police can't do anything about it legally because it's called business. And this isn't business when you destroy the entire city anymore. It's called war.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand what the end goal is,
And the judges can't do anything either because it's not their jurisdiction. So their hands are out of this. They can't force those mall owners to give away free rent to people and get the correct tenants in here. And at this point, when you lose your department stores, and the Bay and Holt Renfrew have spoke very clearly that they're very displeased with Edmonton, and it needs to be dealt with. And the mall owners have to be held accountable for this. It's a complete destruction of our city.
Yeah, no,
right?
Yeah.
So take this, tell your boss. So who would be the big boss? Who would be the top boss? If I'm going to speak with somebody there, who would I want to speak with?
Stephanie Coombs.
Stephanie Coombs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She makes all the decisions?
At a certain level here, obviously there's people above her, but in Edmonton, I'd say she's probably the big one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to take her.
Do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got to get on this. This is you know what? This is really serious because when walking around this city, which I've done a lot. I've done this here. I've done this in Vancouver. I've done this in Ottawa. I've done this majorly in Toronto. I lived there 3 years of downtown Toronto, solid, walking the streets and watching what's going on in the city. So, in my opinion, we're at the point where the city could be charged with negligence if somebody is harmed for both the lack, and so could CBC or all the media corporations for not reporting on this accurately. Because if somebody was murdered or somebody was injured by the lack of care and the allowance of this to continue, that's a negligence lawsuit against the city, both the cities, all of them. The city, the land developers who caused this, and the media companies.
The provincial government is supposed to be funding this and hasn't been. They've been cutting funding too.
It's all the governments. It's all three levels. There is not one politician that's done anything to make this better, and nor will they, because they're not being pressured to. They need to be pressured. Yeah. And they need to have people like me out here telling you guys, because you don't know. You're just told here what to say.
They're distracting the public with bullshit cultural stuff, and it's really infuriating, because then we're all kind of like cleaning up the mess of that, dealing with like things that have no consequence. They're not based in reality. No. It's just fake arguments that they're manufacturing.
100%. And the girl from City News that was doing the interview that I went up to, she got her, I watched her, and she had her story texted to her on her phone. So she's just a glorified sunshine girl, actually a graduated sunshine girl. She does her makeup, looks pretty, stands in front of the camera, and reads what her boss sent her on her text. And she changed the whole story, and she admitted that on camera. She's like, oh, she changed everything. That's not what, I have to redo this. And so she doesn't even write what she's reading. So it's not her fault. She's just doing what she's told. So we need to get up the ladder to the proper people.
I know, man. Like, journalism is under such attack right now, too. Like, our hands are tied in a lot of circumstances like that, you know, when the reporters on the street are censored more and more up the ladder. And especially with corporate media like, you know, City and Bell and Global, they're all like much worse at it. CBC tries better than they do, but we still don't succeed all the time. That's the damn sure. It's really frustrating trying to be a journalist.
Well, CBC is sitting right in ground zero. Like, they have watched this collapse happen, just like I watched Toronto every day I was there. Yeah. They're here every day. They know what's going on, and they're getting it, ignoring it. That's a crime. Yeah. That's, you know, because people are getting harmed. It's not safe for a worker downtown to walk home at night. Yeah. I've had many workers tell me that they're afraid to leave. I've had somebody from Lorenzo's restaurant in there who told me he had to save a woman from getting beat up because she wouldn't give money to somebody. She only had her debit card. Like, this is at the point where it's criminal for these that organization, CBC, as well as those mall owners, and the government, to allow this to happen. It's evil. It's bad. And we really need to put the pressure on. So my name is Dana, and I have a channel. It's called Tigeress, and it's on YouTube. So you can find me at tigeress.com, and you can watch the interview that I did with two reporters actually out here. I got Global News, who was reporting on the bubbles over there. Okay. And then I got Bianca Millions, and she's from City News, and she was reporting on the meeting in there. And it's a disgrace what our media has become. And I mean, I'm not meaning to you're reporting on the beautiful fountains, and I mean, we need to go to your bosses. You need to tell them that we met Dana, and I'm a former retailer, so this is why I'm very passionate about this. I used to own a store in City Center Mall when it was called Eaton Center, and it was owned by Cadillac Fairview, and they're all the same. They're all in bed together. So I used to own a store there, and then I was passionate about this, and I spoke about it. and I was silenced by a Court of Queen's Bench judge and told I'm not allowed to talk on my former landlord, which is another landlord in this city, and I'm not allowed to say, but it's not Cadillac Fairview and it's not downtown. And I was a tenant in this city for 18 years. I'm a business owner, so I see this from a business viewpoint, and I'm very educated in the way business works and mega malls work and corporate land development deals. We're at this point where that's where the blame has to be put correctly on your landlord, who is Canderel. At Center Court, there's a whole bunch of them on that tile right now.
Okay.
And you need to go up the ladder, and this needs to be, because now this has been a conversation, and I'm telling you as CBC, please forward this up your ladder and tell them to start reporting on the destruction of retail and forward them to my channel. And they can see I did a video that has the comparison side-by-side photos of all of the stores that were once in that mall, that was in 2019, and what that exact space looks like now, and it's almost all gone.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
Yeah. Thank you for talking about
Yeah, please send this up the ladder. We need to get this dealt with.
Yeah, we got to keep talking about it, or else people
Right?
just let it slide, right?
Yeah, and they should be sending you out here doing stories on those people and the government and the malls and the destruction nonstop, because there is no more important issue. Looks great today because it's a beautiful day, right?
Yeah.
But when it's not a beautiful day, and when there is no fountain, all we have is homelessness around
Oh
here.
yeah, no, I've lived and worked downtown for over 20 years. I've seen it all happening too, so it was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
for your time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, take care.